We are at Dubai Air Show and I have with me Mr. Brendan from AEROBLOC.
AEROBLOC,
Yeah,
right.
He's the chairman.
I'm the chairman and founder.
Okay. Let's talk about your company, what you do and how did your company initiate itself in this realm of aviation sector?
So in a sentence, we're building the Internet of Aviation.
Okay.
And the reason we're doing that is because I've worked in previous jobs where I've managed the global settlement system for aviation ticketing. And these systems are decades old.
Yeah.
So when you reserve a ticket online, almost half the tickets pass through software written in the 1960s, 70s, or 80s. So, these are at end-of-life systems. So we're looking to replace them with much more sophisticated systems which are easier to maintain, use, lower cost, which gets passed on to the passenger. We're using the likes of blockchain and AI to do that.
So when you come to Internet of Things, how do you think the aviation industry has adapted itself to this advanced technology or system?
So on the surface you see new applications, new apps, loyalty programs, but at the back end, the biggest airlines in the world are still running on mainframes. And the software on that mainframes was designed in the 1950s, written in the 1960s and 70s, a system called TPF, and it's just reached end of life, and it's hard to maintain, it's expensive. And the folks who wrote those programs used to be retiring, and now they're sadly passing away. So that knowledge has been lost. So we have a team who can rebuild those core systems, and we use blockchain to do smart contracts and sharing of data, and AI then to do enhancements and so forth.
Coming to the point where blockchain has been vastly discussed in the industry as well as implemented in many of the firms. What extra information you have about blockchain being the perfect replacement of what used to be before when it comes to data programs or the loyalty programs, as you said, and much more, because blockchain has been doing the optimization of aircraft traveling and also the cargo side, many things. So what do you say about blockchain being implemented in the industry?
So I've been paying a lot of attention to this in the last few years, looking at what blockchains are there and what they can offer. So blockchain has promised a lot and delivered not so much. And there's a good reason for that. And the reason is what we've seen in the past is centralized systems and people coming with centralized solutions whereby it's a private solution and people have got to get on board. And secondly, you need a lot of collaborators for the industry to move en masse. So what we've decided to do is to build a blockchain dedicated to aviation, fit for purpose, so the data types and so forth can reflect the typical data types in the industry. The governance will be under the governance of the industry, and it will belong to the industry, not to us. It will become a digital commons, and the stakeholders will be all the major stakeholders, airlines, airports and so forth, suppliers, builders, whatever. And that aviation space will be a digital commons for everybody to use. Now we will build applications on top, which will be for profit, but the actual AEROBLOC will be non-for-profit, and it will solve that problem of having a dedicated blockchain for the industry.
So when you deal with different countries, because every country has its own frameworks, like regulatory frameworks to say, how do you deal with those things when you deliver your service?
So the beauty of it is aviation is global, so you do have different aviation authorities and some frameworks, but aircraft fly everywhere. So there has to be a seamless, frictionless movement of aircraft. So that actually makes our life easy because there is a harmonization already in place. So we just capitalize on that. So you have the, industry leaders like IATA, OAG, and ATBCO, and all these guys have figured out a lot of different areas and have national international standards. We even have Corsia coming in now for carbon credits. It's a global standard, voluntary from January 2023. There's a lot of adoption. So aviation has been figuring out global problems and global standards since day one because of parts and interoperability. So that's not a problem we face. And in terms of the blockchain, gives you a surface to create your own applications. So it could be customized to different regions, different languages, different cultures. That's fine, we don't have an issue with that. It's actually the opposite. It's easier to play into blockchain because of its global nature.
When you see the Europe market and when you see the Middle East market, which seems to be more adapting to the technology part, be it the AI, be it the blockchain, or the innovations. Which market is more into a technology than other?
So it's a wonderful question. So historically, Europe has been very good and leads the way on technology and technology usage and standards. And Lufthansa has a great research unit and R&D for technology that's still very good. What we've seen in the Middle East is two things. One is the most recent sort of upsurge of lots of new airlines.
Yeah.
So they're willing to really take on this whole mobility challenge. And I think there's 6 new airlines in Saudi, for example.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, about 30 years ago, Emirates built some of the finest apps in the industry as a sort of a leading light in the region. And I think we're at a stage now where we need to rebuild them, and maybe in the same region, because I kind of like this region, this is where I'm based. But I think that's a collaborative effort that could really sort of rejuvenate that whole back-end software side of the industry.
We spoke about aviation industry, where air cargo has always been a significant area, as well as the passenger side. So how do you think the Internet of Things or blockchain will help the air cargo industry to get itself stay intact in the industry developments or advancements?
So there's a short answer to that one. Cargo was the poor brother of passenger until COVID came along, and then it became the profitable brother. So, and since then, it's kind of people have rethought their views on things and how they see cargo. So cargo's become much more sophisticated. I think the introduction of the vaccines and the fact that they had to be transported at very low temperatures, the whole cool chain was pushed forward. So the IoT meets internet kind of substrate is really strong now. So the Internet of Aviation that we're building will include all of those IoT fogs and all of those kind of sensors. And also with the blockchain, you can track things way better than traditional centralized systems. I mean, back in the day, we used to build interfaces between, the big airlines in Europe and US. That was one of the things we used to do in my previous job. But with a blockchain, you can have a common sort of thread through the industry where nobody owns it, but everybody owns it. And you can use standards like One Record from IATA to track that cargo all the way through using that standard. I don't know if anyone's fully implemented that standard. We'd like to be the first. And you can include all the IoT sensors and so forth. So you can say that a piece of cargo was dropped in a particular warehouse at a particular time. Yeah. So the insurance companies could have a smart contract on that. Right. So it's just, and then you have tokenization, where you can use tokens and NFTs to represent digital twins in the digital world, which replicate very truly the real world, and that's very, it's unlimited what we could do with that.
So how do you see yourself in the future? Maybe for next 5 years?
I'll be a very happy man when I cut the red ribbon on the Internet of Aviation, which will be my gift to the industry. But I'll also build lots of applications that I have a passion for, like cargo we mentioned earlier. I want to build a cargo system, a really modern cargo system. We're already building revenue accounting, and then loyalty and a few other applications like this are of great interest, just to rework them with new code bases, new ways of approaching it. AI, I haven't even touched on it, but it's unlimited. And one of the things we have with the AEROBLOC is we have a foundation which repatriates trafficked children using our token, and it means that we're enabling the asset of the aviation industry to save those children. So there's an altruistic motivation as well.
Yeah. Thanks, and that's all for today.
Thank you so much.
We had a good chat with you on this topic.
Likewise, yeah. Pleasure.
Hope we meet in
We'll
future.
meet soon.